Welcome, everyone. I am Nathan. He is Raymond. And we are the Super Infodump Brothers from another mother.
This is Raymond from 2024. Just letting you know that this episode was recorded in 2023. I hope you enjoy it. And today, we are talking about the movie Blue Beetle.
Yo!
So Nathan, what was your experience with the movie? Did you like it?
It was fine. I would say, I'm not sure it's going to stick in my memory in the long run, but I do appreciate aspects of it. And I think my main takeaway of it was, I think I would have liked it a lot more if this movie had came out, 10 to 15 years ago. Like, if this movie came out first instead of, Iron Man, I feel like it would have been the game changer, and, our modern-day superhero movies would be completely different. Or maybe similar, who knows. But, maybe DC would be in control of things then. Because it felt like stuff that, a lot of it felt like stuff I've seen before, and that's not inherently bad. It's just the problem is, well, we've seen so many superhero stories at this point, it's hard for it to stand out. So I almost wish it came out a lot sooner, so therefore feel a bit more fresh to me.
Interesting. So, okay, and you're coming at it from an American perspective here, but this
yes. So I definitely have a bias.
This is a success for a Latin American culture and for Latin American community, for the people of the Latin American world. This movie felt made for us. It felt made. It was made by us, for us, and for everyone else to enjoy. Now, the big problem I have, Nathan, with this movie, and I guess I'm fine with you kind of bashing it a little, which is kind of not being very, kind of it's not as memorable as it could be, right? But I'm okay with bashing it because the main problem I had with this movie, biggest problem I had, is, oh my gosh, they swear a lot. This movie is not PG-13. They made it PG. They said it was PG-13. This movie's not PG-13. And the thing is that what they did was, it's because it's Spanish. Because it's Spanish, we're just gonna curse, you know? And it's still gonna get a good rating or a PG-13 rating because, it's in a different language, and that's okay.
Again, that American bias showing. Oh, there's no cursing in English? Then it's fine, then.
I was shocked. I would not see this movie. There were kids in this movie theater. There were kids watching with me. I would not show this to my parents, Nathan. This movie, I would not take my little brother to this movie. And he's 18. I would not take my parents. I would not take my brother. I went to the movie theater. I regret going to the movie theater. I personally go to the movie theater and I only watch... This is a personal thing. I only watch movies, PG-13 movies, and PG movies in movie theaters. Where in a PG-13 movie, I'm expecting one F-bomb or maybe no F-bombs, just an S or two in there.
Like
exactly.
Your typical Marvel movie.
That's what I'm expecting, because it's a kids movie. This was for kids. This was not okay. I know that we have the PG-13 rating, and but that doesn't mean anything anymore. Essentially, but this movie essentially is for families. It's for kids, and I don't know if you know this, Nathan, but in Latin America, and this is also changing a lot now. But in Latin America, Wolverine. Have you watched Logan? Right?
Yeah.
In Spanish, Logan has no swearing. Oh. Logan has no swearing at all. It still has the same violence, but it's a PG-13 movie because it has no swears in Spanish. And all the Marvel movies in Spanish do not have any swears because kids are going to watch it. And families are going to go watch it. And a major population in Latin America. A major population in Latin America are Christians. The majority of people in Latin America are Christian people. So explain to me why this movie, who was made by a lot of, like, they were proofreadings from Puerto Rico and Mexico for this movie, and everyone was okay, the writers and the directors, with having as much swearing in this movie when it was supposed to go out to a Latin American audience.
And, like, the family is supposed to be a Christian family, too, as implied by the fact that they have, like, Mary on their wall. So, like, you would think they would have that same feeling about cursing themselves, but nope. That's so funny.
Now, I have to say, Mexican, in the Mexican culture and in Spain and in the rest of Latin America, we do curse. Like, we curse a lot. There's no denying on that. That, like, Latin American people curse all the time, just like Americans. That's a normal thing that happens. But there's a line that we don't cross in movies and shows and stuff like that, because we still have the decency of being like, hey, if it's a superhero movie or if it's this kind of movie, kids and families are going to watch it. We have a major Christian audience. So I loved the movie so much, but I'm not going to watch it again because it's too much, Nathan. It's too much. The dialogue, this is an R-rated, like, this is a hard R, like, within the script, like, because they, jeez, like, wow.
That's so funny. So also this makes you think of, like, so this is a dumb question. So, like, obviously this is a movie made in English that, like, had a lot of Spanish dialogue. So then how do they treat it with, like, the whole
they're gonna
Spanish
dub it.
Will they keep the same swear words? But, like, will they keep the same swear words, or are they just going to replace those then?
I honestly think they are. I don't know. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna try to find. The dub. Or actually, I'm gonna maybe ask someone else or something. Or I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm gonna see what they do with the dub. Cause I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that when they dub it, it's not gonna have any of the curse words, and they're either gonna make it that everybody just speaks Spanish because they are in the location is pretty interesting. So they're probably, what they're gonna do is probably gonna have certain scenes where the American characters are probably speaking English, and then everyone else just speaks Spanish. Cause all these characters could just be speaking Spanish. So, like, all the time, essentially. So, when you have a story like that, then it's easy to just translate it, because if it's in that world, like, for example, like, a story like, what's it called? Luca can just be translated to Italian, and that's it, you know, because it's in Italia. So in Italy, I said it in Spanish, but you know, like, that can be translated into Italian, and it would make sense. The same thing as a ratatouille, that could be translated into French, that makes sense, because all of those things take place in those locations. So I think this movie is perfect to be dubbed, and just for it to be all of the characters just speaking Spanish, because it'll make sense.
That makes sense.
Maybe they'll have, like, a little bit of the American lady, like the villain of the movie. Maybe she's gonna speak English at some point, and we're gonna put, like, subtitles on her. But I don't think so. I think they're just gonna dub it completely. It kind of makes more sense to do that, but they could be more clever about it. Sometimes they're clever, sometimes they just pay to dub it, and that's it. For example, you know, how Dora is basically the opposite, which makes more sense to me For some, I don't know why, but it makes more sense that Dora speaks Spanish, but she's teaching kids English. That kind of makes more sense to me. Because, like, I don't know. I mean, that kind of makes more sense in my head.
Sure, I'm not going to question it.
But yeah, I just had to go to that little rant at the beginning because I was so disappointed. I love Blue Beetle.
Oh yeah, the character's great. I've loved what I've seen of him in like other media. Like my main point of reference is seeing him in like other superhero cartoons, like Batman: The Brave and the Bold or Young Justice. And so like in all those examples, I definitely love the character. So I was definitely excited to see him in this movie, and I hope he does get more love in the cinematic universe. So he's a great character, great concept. So no complaints with him at all.
I love him. There was a lot of good references as well to like Latin American stuff. So like for example, Chapulín Colorado was something I wish I could explain to people but it's not gonna mean anything to you. It's just basically a TV series. They actually animated. They had to animate the character, make a stop motion of it, because they couldn't get the rights to the actual the original idea in the script was to show a scene from the show, but they couldn't get the rights from Televisa, so they had to basically make a stop motion of it, and they were able to get the theme song, the Chapulín Colorado, but they couldn't get the thing. And like if you stayed at the end, he comes back at the end. If you stayed like in the end credit scenes, they kind of show you like the whole theme song, with the character being animated. But you know that there was actually an original of that where the end credits was going to show as Blue Beetle also stop motion animated with El Chapulín Colorado. That would have been better, and they didn't do that.
Oh yeah, that sounds hella cute.
Like I can send you the video of it, but it's basically I love it because they like, I don't know why movies do that sometimes, where it's just like they go ahead and like they record it, they do all this work, and then they for some reason decide not to include it in the movie, and it's always so jarring to me. I'm like, that didn't make sense at all, because sometimes I understand like with scene cuts, which is like, oh, okay, we didn't have enough time for this, but sometimes they replace scenes with other scenes that were better, and I don't understand that. Like, that was the same amount of time.
Because like this, yeah, exactly. Very confusing.
And it's something, maybe it's just the taste of or someone said something, or who knows. Filmmaking, exactly. Filmmaking is weird. But yes, the thing I really loved about this movie, first of all, the family dynamic was amazing.
Yes, the family is easily the best part of this movie. I love the family.
And something I also love about this, which is something I really like in superheroes, is that idea of, and we saw it on Homecoming, we've seen it with Spider-Man many times, but it just gets me every time when a character, and we kind of have this unique thing, but this has happened before. Like you said, there's tropes here that have happened before with other stuff. But seeing it come up here in an origin story, I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. Like, I'm kind of okay with it. Like you said, it feels like an old movie. It feels like a 2000s movie, but with good effects.
Yeah.
And the thing I really loved was the idea of what was his name? I forgot the name of the character. Jaime,
villain,
right? Jaime.
Yeah, Jaime.
Jaime
Yes.
saying to and I forgot what's the name of the Blue Beetle, the scarab.
I forget the name of the scarab. I just call it the
So
scarab.
the scarab. First, something I also didn't like is that they made the scarab sound like Karen from Homecoming, from Spider-Man. Is that her name, Karen? Was it Karen? Her name?
I think you're right.
Something like that. It was whoever.
Forget, but
she sounded like a regular
just very robotic,
like a phone call voice. When I kind of remember that in other medias, it's been a like male voice, like a male.
Yes, in other media, it's like still robotic, but like I do remember like a more male voice. Like I forget how it sounded in Batman Brave and the Bold, but in Young Justice, I remember it's like literally the same voice actor's voice, but just more robotic.
It sounds more like this,
which made sense because and so like in the other case it made sense because like kind of like evoked like the feeling of oneness they had, where it's like yes, it's a dialogue going on in his brain, but it's still a dialogue made by this being that's like injecting himself into his brain and body. So of course it would use his voice to some extent. Whereas this, it's like a very distinct voice, and like it's a bit jarring because it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it like feels like its own separate entity and personality. But the thing is, it just sounds and acts very robotic, so it kind of like undercuts any sort of personality they were kind of implying.
Correct. So that's the problem.
Like, I wish it had more of a presence in this movie, because they like emphasize it as its own distinct being to the point where like they made an effort to like give it a name and say its name over and over again. But like it didn't really have much of a presence in this movie. Where like one note I had that I would have liked to happen instead was like at the climax of the movie where like Jaime is like at his near death state and like has this like out of body experience and like meets his dad. That's a sweet moment and I like it. And I don't like. And, like, it's a great trope. You see it over and over again. But I almost kind of wish it was, like, the actual scarab itself talking to Jaime through the form of its dad. So, like, his dad is not even actually there. It's just a scarab trying to have a heart-to-heart with him using a familiar image of Jaime.
I think that's what...
Or to Jaime.
I think that's what's happening.
Like, that's... Like, you can infer it.
No,
it's just they make such a big deal about, like, being the dad and, like, referring to, like, the heart-to-heart that he had with his dad earlier. Kind of, like, meant to punctuate what his dad talked about earlier. And, like, you can imply that, like, the beetle... what the scarab was part of it. It's just, like, I wish they would have emphasized the scarab a bit more in that moment. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, it still felt like it was just kind of along for the ride as opposed to actively influencing.
You know what? The more I talk about it, the more it makes me angry. Yes! The more we talk about it. I hated the fact that the scarab did not have a personality. It felt like a random voice. Like a random voice that they chose for like a computery voice. Oh, look at the computery voice! Like it feels like an AI. It doesn't feel like a thing, like a creature, when it's meant to be a techno organic kind of thing, kind of more like the Steven Universe kind of gems. So it's supposed to have a personality. Like it's supposed to.
Yeah, and like they make a big deal about like. They make a big deal like, Jaime, you need to like accept the beetle. You need to like synchronize with the beetle. You need to accept your destiny. Like accept the scarab's name or whatever. Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, that's great. I can vibe with that. But like, we don't really know anything about the scarab for him to really vibe with. Like, give us more of like of what the scarab actually is like. Like, give us more back and forth. Give us more fleshing out the character's personality. Give us something like we saw in Venom.
Exactly.
Like, I'm still not a big fan of the Venom movies, but at least what they did with Venom is like give a big distinction between Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote, and like gave the symbiote a good
and they have a symbiotic relationship. So it had to be similar. It had to be like that. Where in Venom is the same voice actor playing both characters. So. Again, giving that example again, we're like, why wasn't it? Why did they choose to have this voice? It makes no sense. Why didn't they? Why did they choose to do that? I'm confused about it. I don't understand it, and it's another negative for the movie. But.
My half-baked theory, just thinking about it in the split second, is I wonder if maybe the problem was they just had a few too many characters.
That is true.
Again, the great thing about this movie that we talk about is like we had the family, and they made a big effort to like include like all 5 or 6 members of the family in this movie, and that was great, and we love the family. It's a great dynamic, and it's great to see the family get involved in the superhero story. But because of that, the Scarab itself kind of had to take a big back seat to like these big personalities, especially George Lopez. Like it was practically a George Lopez movie.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it could be that. And I don't know. I find that problematic with the with this movie. It's just even the voice. It's just change the voice. Give it something better. Something. I disagree. I don't agree with that. It still could have been female voice, but it could have been not a robotic voice. It's just a weird option. Weird option. Like, and
again, even something as simple as like what you saw with Iron Man's AI, because like his AI Friday, like you don't see or hear much of her in the movies, but like she still says a one-liner or two every now and then to give her some personality, or like even like gives like Iron Man flack when like he's flying around or messing up. So,
well,
like,
in the third,
she's not a huge presence in the movies, but like she's still enough of a personality to know that Iron Man's like communing with someone when he like does his Iron Man thing. But like it doesn't really feel like Jaime's communing with anyone here. He's just like you said, he's just sort of dealing with a runaway AI or dealing with a runaway robot.
In the third act, like, again, yeah, it feels more like that. It feels like he's dealing with an AI, not with a person, not with a personality. He's dealing with a computer that thinks in a computery way, and it's adapting its code to Jaime. That's what it feels like. Instead of two personalities like Venom and Eddie coming together and being like, and they had the same problem, man, where Eddie, and that's why there's the thing I was gonna praise this movie about, which is I just realized is basically the plot of Venom, but essentially, Venom ends up actually killing people. But something I really like about this movie is that he goes in and whenever the AI takes over the suit, the Beetle takes over the suit, like he tries to eliminate the foe. And something I really loved about it was that it's saying going like Jaime saying, "No, I'm not a killer." And then it's brought back in. So in the third act, the Beetle, the Scarab is more prevalent. Like they talk more in the third act. But
Very true.
And they say like we're vamos a partirle la madre. Like we're gonna which it was really funny. I found out really funny. That means. That means in English, the literal translation would be, "Let's break their mom," which makes more. Which, for some reason, in Spanish, we have that phrase where it's like, for some reason, "mother" is used as how people use God in phrases.
Oh.
I mean, and the same way that you guys use the F word doesn't make any sense in a sentence. That's how we use mother. So basically, when you say I'm gonna vamos a partirle la madre, it's like you're saying. Essentially, I think it maybe comes from a longer phrase. Maybe it means I'm gonna beat you so hard you're gonna go and cry to your mother. But it's just shortened. But it's just shortened to I'm gonna beat your mother, basically.
Like you mentioned that it's kind of like the equivalent to like us saying God, but like using those curse phrases. Could it have something to do with like the Mother Mary, like scenes like Catholic culture and all that? Like could that be like a shorthand of that? Where like instead of saying Jesus Christ, we're saying Mary instead.
No.
I'm just guessing. I have no idea.
We do have that, but we do have that as well. But yeah, it's just one of the ways. It's just a phrase that, again, it feels like it originally came from something else, but essentially just got cut down to, I'm gonna break your mom, or we're gonna break you. Yeah, that it is funny. I found it really funny.
But yeah, like you said, yeah, the Beetle definitely has more of a presence in the third act. You're definitely right in that regard.
But it still feels like an AI. Like, it doesn't feel like a thing. And so when he... So what I love is, like, when he's angry and he goes in and he, like, goes to kill, like, the guy because he thinks he kills his dad and his uncle. Essentially the Scarab stops him and it's like, we're not killers. Like, I cried. I was like, yes, this is beautiful. Cause you know me. I like superheroes that don't kill. Like, I'm a very like. I like that mindset of being like, no, I don't, like, we're not gonna do that. Which I find it undermining that they kill someone. The
family's totally okay with killing. He himself doesn't kill.
It was not. I found it strange. I was like, if he doesn't kill, then the family should not kill either, because the family was the one that raised him to not do that. So it was strange to me.
It's like, so where did he get this from? Because apparently,
the family's completely fine with killing people. They killed a lot of people. Like, their body count was pretty high. They
Granny got a body count,
they stabbed someone through with a freaking, like, claw.
Yeah, with a robot leg.
That was supposed to be funny. I was like, that's not funny. That's horrifying. Like, my gosh. Where am I?
It's okay. But it's okay. They fix it with a fart joke afterwards, so it's totally fine, right?
My gosh. Imagine if that had gore. Then it would have been R-rated. But no, it's as if it had no blood. You know, it's fine. Oh my gosh. Like, they even added the sound effect. Like, it was horrifying. I was like, wow. I did not enjoy that. No,
But I do like, it was great to see the Beetle, like, learn from Jaime and, like, stop Jaime from trying to kill, like, obviously having learned that from Jaime. And so that was great. I kind of wish there were more, like, little moments in between the start of the movie and that moment to, like, sort of imply that the Beetle was learning from Jaime a bit more. Kind of like, you know, like Terminator learning from the little kid, like, what it means to do a thumbs up or say hasta la vista. Like, it'd be great to see, like, this AI thing learn a little bit more about what it means to be human from Jaime and, like, have those interactions. And there were, like, again, small moments that happened like that with the whole non-killing thing, but I just wish there's more... Again, more showing an exchange between these two personalities to help these two personalities be more distinct as a result.
Yeah, because he's talking to it. Like, he's always talking to it. Mm-hmm. So, it's weird, right? Because he's always talking to it. And it feels, I think, I'm gonna say it, I think they just wanted to rip off the Spider-Man. They just did it. They just ripped off Homecoming. I think that's what they were going for. I think that's why.
Yeah, I feel like this ripped off a lot of superhero origin stories, which is why I feel like if this movie had come out first, it would have been a lot more well received, at least to me. Where, like, it felt like there was so much of Venom, so much of Spider-Man, so much of Iron Man. Like, even, like, the little heads-up display that you see from Jaime's perspective when he's in the suit very much reminded me of, like, what you would see when you're flying an Iron Man suit. So, like, it felt like it was just taking from all these superhero origin stories. And, like, they're not bad things to take from. Like, again, these are tropes that you see over now and then. And, like, these tropes aren't bad, they're just storytelling elements. And so, like, it's not bad that you use these storytelling elements. It just use these storytelling elements after all these other franchises have used these elements over and over and over again.
And I think it's a detriment to the movie itself. And I feel like they can be proud with what they did. They made a Latin American superhero movie. And
Yep, definitely worth celebrating.
That's great. Great, right? But, like, I don't know, if you're gonna pander to the Latin American community and to families, you should have thought about, hey, maybe we should not have so many curse words in this movie. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. Nathan, it's so bad. Nathan, it's bad.
That's so weird.
Like, Nathan, it's like they dropped the. It's like it's like you go and watch a PG-13 movie that drops the F-bomb every 10 minutes. Like, it's that bad, Nick.
Like, you really think you would know better. Like, I did not look into the production crew at all, but, like, is the director or the writers, like, are they Latin American? Like, if they are, you would think they would know better.
That's the thing. In the credits, it said, I felt shame, Nathan. I am Puerto Rican born and raised by my Puerto Rican parents. And it said that Puerto Rico was the one that helped with the script translations.
Wow.
And I was so disappointed.
Dang.
I was like, of course. Oh, man.
It makes me wonder if, like, I'm just wanting to look into, like, the actual writers more. Like, is this, like, a bunch of white people that, like, thought this is how, like, Puerto Ricans, like, acted like, and then the Puerto Ricans were, like, just sort of tasked with, like, not even inputting on the script, just being forced to, like, translate the script one for one. It's like, we don't want to actually know what you guys think. We just want you to translate this because we think it sounds cool or edgy.
Because I know, because they're supposed to be Mexican, right? But there's a lot of Puerto Rican. The main character, Jaime, is played by a Puerto Rican actor. But he's typecasted to be Mexican in most things, which is pretty racist to me. I don't know. I find it a little bit racist, but okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
He usually plays Mexicans, which is always really funny to me. And I don't blame him. He's played. Who would turn down playing a superhero?
Right, exactly.
Like, I want to play a Latino I don't care what kind of Latino they put me as. I would love to play a Latin American superhero. Yeah, let me see. I'm kind of looking up the directors and writers here. Let's see, cause that's right. Something weird to me was that it's like, why in this production, like, it's produced by John Richard Sev Foreman. Let's see. Do we have a director? Okay, so it was directed by Angel Manuel Soto, and written by Gareth Dunit Alcocer.
Okay, so definitely Hispanic names.
Yeah, like, there's, and again, I think it's because, you know what this felt like? It felt like, yes, we have a chance to make a Latin American superhero. Let's just make him sound the coolest thing ever. Like, all the cursing was meant to be like, this cool, edgy, like, cursing, like, which is like to be honest, a lot of the scenes, like, a lot of the times they used the cursing was pretty cool. Like, but, like, I can admit that. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I can admit that it was in cool moments. Like, and it makes sense. Like, it also makes sense. Like, when, like, someone gets hurt or something like that, blah, blah. And Latin American people, like, we call each other those words as well. A lot of those words we call each other all the time. Makes sense to me. Like, it's portraying reality. That's the thing, right? And I think that's how we excuse it, right? It's the fact that they're portraying reality. This is how we talk. This is what we do, right? So that's how it felt like when and the way it was directed and with the way it was written. It felt like that. And again, all the people on the movie, they are Latin American actors. They all probably improvised a couple of lines as well.
Right.
In Spanish. So,
especially George Lopez, sure. I feel like I remember him doing similar things back on his sitcom.
Yes. So, I think that I think, like, it, from a writing standpoint and from a director standpoint, I would say, yeah, this makes sense. But from a
cultural standpoint,
yes, where you're, and not only that, where it's like this is a product and you're the consumption, like you like there is a reason why, like, you know, we have the rating systems, like, because if we want to like make something that is for a wider audience, like many people can watch. I mean, like Disney movies are a great example. Pixar movies are a great example as well for that. You know, like Pixar movies are a work of art. They have incredible writing. You know, sometimes they're categorized only as kids movies, but you know, I think they transcend that sometimes, where it's like, yeah, this doesn't feel just like this is not just a kid movie. Maybe the target audience was that, but it's not, because Disney always targets is the whole family. It's a family. Like, so when Iron Man came out, that wasn't an R-rated movie. You know, Spider-Man movies, like when Sam Raimi came out with those Spider-Man movies, no swearing in those movies. There's no swearing. Why? Why? Because Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, all these characters are meant to be for a wide audience. Like, I understand a character like Deadpool. Deadpool is not for a wider audience, right? Like, there's a category for each superhero. Like, My Hero Academia makes fun of it, right? Because, like, you got all these superheroes that are PG and all that stuff, and then you have a hero that is R-rated, but she is in that world. She's real, like, but she is promoted as an R-rated hero. So essentially, I don't know, she can only save adults. What? I don't understand how that works, but it's funny, like, right? But that's the thing. Like, I think if you wanted this to be a PG-13, I think it failed. Yeah. If this was supposed to be a family movie, I would not take my family to see the movie. I can't.
And again, it's funny because based on, like, again, other versions of Blue Beetle I've seen, he is not this edgy character that's, like, cursing every minute. Like, again, because of the rating system, but also just because that's just the type of person he is. Like, he's just this kid that's, like, often dragged in over his head because he gets taken over by the scare, but at the same time, he's a dorky kid, but that's in over his head, but at the same time, he just wants to do right by his people, by his family, and the folks around him. And so there's nothing inherently edgy about that idea of a character, so there's no sense adding that edginess to him. Like, he had a solid character to begin with. Why do you feel the need to, like, add all this edge when you already had such a likable, well-receivable character concept to begin with? Like, you didn't need to add more darkness to the mix. There was enough good there that could have stood on its own merit.
Also, we have a big array of non-curse words. Spanish is a language that is incredible. Like, it's creative. Like, they make, like, that's why we have, like, art and songs and all these things, and we are a poetic language. Spanish is known as a poetic language. We have so many words, so many funny words. It could have been funny.
Like, you could have been a lot more creative and expressive, but you just went to the lowest common denominator. It's like the equivalent of going to a kids movie and like 30% and like 50% of the jokes are just nothing but like fart jokes or toilet humor. Where it's like, you guys know there are other good jokes out there, right? Like, you could be more creative and insightful. Why didn't you do that? And like, they just did not do that with the language here, as you're saying.
Again, it's like, we use a lot, like, oh my god, we use a lot of that. Like, okay, so if you hear I'm gonna say it, like a Christian Hispanic family, the words that you're gonna hear is, oh my god, oh, oh, what is it? Like go to the devil. There's a lot of religious centered words that we say that are really funny. We use a lot when we say when somebody's a jerk or something like that. We say like "son of the devil" or things like that. Which is really funny. It's like "hijo del diablo." My dad yells that when he's driving. When he's driving and somebody cuts him off, he's like, "Son of the devil!"
That's so fun. Even without knowing what that means, it just sounds so colorful and expressive. It's like, why didn't you do that in the movie?
Like, there are so many words that we say that are really, like I told you, like, I'm gonna break your mom. They said that one. That one was hilarious. They should have kept saying other words that we say that are, like, exchanging for the actual bad word. For example, we say, instead of saying, so Wednesday, in Spanish, Wednesday and the word, the S word, sound similar. So instead of saying the S word, we say, like, miércoles! Like we scream Wednesday. That's hilarious! That's funny. Like, somebody's screaming Wednesday? Like...
Gotta love a good pun.
You know, I think they could have done a lot with the dialogue. Instead of so many curse words, they could have used a lot of other colorful language that is not as vulgar. But yeah, they're very vulgar, man. Wow. It was something that really caught me by surprise. I was not expecting that from people. Again, like you saw, like I read it. Like they were the director speaks Spanish. Like the writers and all these people, like they should have known better. And I think probably since the producers I don't think the producers know anything about Spanish, or probably the studio either, right? It's weird. It's like everyone that spoke Spanish gave the thumbs of approval and was like, yes, this is great. Just put it in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they could have been saying like a bunch of like things against America on the dialogue, and everybody would be like, yeah, fine. Like, let's greenlit this. And because like everybody was in on the joke, you know? That's how it felt like. It felt like these people knew.
Yeah,
it
really
felt like
weird.
the Latin American people knew that it was gonna go through. That they could curse all they wanted because they were not gonna care according to the rating system. Because I've seen this before, like in other movies, they are okay. Actually, no, I haven't seen it a lot in movies, but I have seen it in shows. In certain shows that are not PG, that are rated TV-14. Some of them they say words sometimes when in Spanish that are bad, that are not TV-14, that are more, again, R-rated. So I think sometimes it just goes through. Like, even there's an expression now that people use a lot, which is like, not a lot, but people use it a lot in other media, but it's like, I don't even want to say it, but it's like, people like to say like that when people have, oh, that person has guts.
Wait, now I'm curious. Now we have to know. And I apologize if I am saying curse word. Is the word guys? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know for future reference. Because, yeah, that's the word I hear every now and then whenever someone says something about guts in Spanish. And I had no idea. So that's fascinating to know.
Yes. I do, it's interesting that it just passes through as like that's just a normal thing. Yeah.
Like, again, like the bias towards American English when it comes to the rating system, where it's like, if so long as it's not said in English, it's totally fine. Whereas, like, yeah, you're kind of like undermining the other values of other cultures and languages by doing that. Where it's like, okay, I guess you could kind of understand because this is an American-made show, but if you're going to make the effort to like include other languages and other cultures in this show, you might as well acknowledge the preferences of these other languages and cultures as well to like enrich people. Because like, yeah, I could have gone my whole life just thinking that was just a normal Spanish word and that's a totally acceptable word, but then it could have led to a very awkward moment between you and I where I tried to make that same joke and then you wince and I'm just like, wait, what? Did I say something wrong? I had no idea. TV lied to me.
Yeah, exactly. It is bizarre. But, you know, our minds work like that sometimes. Like, the first thing people always asked me when I was growing up was, curse words in Spanish. I was like, I'm not gonna... No! Why would I... No! I don't... No. Anyways, those are my problems with the movie. There was a lot of, and the only thing I liked about the movie was, the characters were really good. And essentially I wouldn't call it a message, but a theme? The theme of a hero.
I'm sure the movie was
like not killing people, like thinking about others' perspective.
like, yeah, that's another problem with this movie. Is like it relies on so many cliches that it kind of gets its own message or its own themes and message kind of get a little muddied because they're like, it's a patchwork of so many other themes where it's like, okay, I can get behind Jaime not killing, but you didn't really like paint a picture of like why he doesn't want to kill and what that means when he does kill or things like that. So like, because again, it's trying too hard to like imitate other movies that came before it, where it's like, I can kind of get the message, but it feels like you're playing a game of telephone where you're just repeating what you heard before as opposed to telling me what you actually want to tell me.
Yeah, so actually that is something weird. Why is he not a killer?
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, again, his family seems totally okay with killing people.
Yeah, so it just felt very forced and felt like they were trying to do the cliche of like him being a hero, so therefore he doesn't kill. Where it's like, okay, that's fine, we understand that. We've seen plenty of superhero stories, but in all those other superhero stories, they at least tried to give a reason for that to flesh out the character, but you didn't give us that reason. You just gave us the cliche.
You know what, Blue Beetle? You tried, but you failed.
Yeah, you tried. I can appreciate that you tried. And again, I celebrate the fact that this is like a first Latin American hero on the big screen, and I appreciate that. It's just, oh man, there is so much floundering, and really at the end of the day, I just hope and look forward to seeing more of these characters with better writing. Like, that's all I want and hope for. Yeah. And now that James Gunn is like taking over the DC universe and like is like revamping everything, and has, I think, confirmed that Blue Beetle will be around to some extent, that gives me hope that at least next time we see him, the writing will be better.
Yes, I am really excited. James Gunn knows how to! Come on!
Yep.
James Gunn knows how to write a hero. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm a little bit worried about Superman, like, our friend Joe was telling us. I think I am a little bit worried about Superman with James Gunn. But with any other superhero, I am in.
Yes. I feel like the more obscure and like weird the hero is, the more he gets to shine with it. Because like again, like he does really well with Suicide Squad, he does really well with Guardians of the Galaxy, and just like these weird teams that no one has heard of. And so he gets free reign to be like as weird and quirky, but also as humanly honest as possible. So like the more obscure the team, the more excited I get about it. So like I think they already confirmed he's doing some monster team movie as part of this universe. And I'm like, sure, they sound obscure, they sound weird. That sounds like typical James Gunn. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm all in. I am very happy with the decision of putting him in charge. Because he did such a, again, not a big fan of Suicide Squad. I'm not. I like the themes in that movie. But I think it was a bit more. I think the writing. I felt the writing was a little bit too mean-spirited in that one. To where then in Peacemaker, that felt more to me like something I actually wanted in more superhero stuff. where I was like,
Which reminds me, I still need to go back and watch Peachmaker someday. I still haven't watched it.
oh, you haven't watched it? Yep.
No, I need to check it out.
No, it's great, honestly. Oh, and it's just for the audience, like, it's the show is not for everyone.
Of course.
It is a little bit crude, but the themes and the story, again, James Gunn does, and we talked about this in the other episode. James Gunn does a great job with redemption and redeeming characters, and that's why I'm saying that the show is really good. Is because the James Gunn understands how to redeem a character, and I think that's why you need Suicide Squad, because you need Peacemaker to become to see him as a villain and then to become a hero.
That makes sense.
And wow, it's good.
So yeah, the guy like that is going to be in charge of writing for the DC universe, and is going to be in charge of at least like Blue Beetle cameos and writing for that. I'm all for it. Like I'm sure Blue Beetle will be in good hands.
Yes. Like again, he understands how to write people
Yep.
that have superpowers.
Yep.
I like, and I enjoy that. That's great. Well, thank you very much, guys, for listening. See you guys on the next time. Anything else you'd like to say, Nathan?
TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Goodbye, guys.